The late 1970s were a changing time in the European car industry. German manufacturers like Mercedes-Benz and BMW were establishing themselves as dominant players in the executive and luxury sedan market. Opel, traditionally strong in the mid-size class, wanted a serious contender at the top of its range. When production of the Captain, Admiral, and the Diplomat, or the so-called CAT models, ended in 1977, Opel unveiled the Senator A as its new flagship in 1978. It was designed to offer the comfort and prestige of large German sedan, but at a more affordable price, appealing to company executives, professionals, and even government officials who wanted refinement without the prestige pricing of Mercedes-Benz and BMW. The Opel Senator A was introduced in February 1978. Alongside it came the Opel Monza, a sportier three-door coupe based on the same platform. While the Monza chased driving enthusiasts, the Senator aimed at traditional sedan buyers who valued comfort, space, and long-distance capabilities. The car was positioned above the Opel Rekord, from which it borrowed elements of its platform, but it was stretched and refined into a true executive car, being around 20 centimeters longer than the Rekord. For the British market, the car was sold as the Vauxhall Royale, reflecting General Motors' strategy of badge engineering across Europe, and in Africa, the car was sold as the Chevrolet Senator, with a 4.1 liter producing around 120 horsepower, being available up until around 1982. From the outside, the Senator A looked solid and prestigious without being flamboyant. Early cars known as the A1 versions carried a wide chrome grille, large rectangular headlights, and chrome bumpers with integrated rubber inserts, and the proportions were stately: a long hood or bonnet, large glass houses for the lights, and balanced overhangs. It was clearly inspired by American design cues from the parent company GM, but with a more European restraint in contrary to the earlier KAD models. In November 1982, the Senator received a facelift together with the Monza yet again, now called the Senator A2 and the Monza A2, and these were available from March 1983. Chrome details were toned down, the bumpers became plastic and more body-colored, and the headlights were slightly smaller and more modern, also making the drag coefficient go down by around 10 up until 0.21 if I'm correct. These changes give the car a more contemporary aerodynamic appearance and aligned it with Opel's evolving design language of the 1980s, which also could be seen on other models such as the Opel Rekord. Inside, the Senator delivered what buyers expected from a flagship. Standard upholstery was plush velour, with leather available at extra cost, and dashboards were wide and functional, often finished with wood trim on higher versions. The top-of-the-line CD trim was particularly impressive, featuring automatic climate control, advanced stereo system, electric windows and mirrors, and extra sound insulation. And the rear seats of basically any Senator was very spacious. The heart of the Senator A's appeal was its variety of engines. Opel wanted the model to appeal both to practical buyers and to those seeking performance. As a result, the Senator was offered with everything from economical 4-cylinder engine units to powerful 6-cylinders, and eventually even innovative diesels. When launched in 1978, the lineup began with the 2.5-liter inline-6 producing 150 horsepower, and this was a smooth cruiser but not specifically fast, reaching 100 km an hour in about 14 seconds, and a step up was a 2.8-liter 6-cylinder engine with 140 horsepower, which cut the sprint to 12.5 seconds and allowed a top speed of 185 km an hour. And for many buyers, this version struck the best balance between price and performance, but you also had the 3-liter with 150 horsepower, having a top speed of around 195 km an hour. which actually was the top of the line at that point. And this did 0 to 100 in around 10 seconds, which already for the time being was very good. And after the 1982 facelift, Opel expanded the range as the entry models now became a 2.0e, which meant a fuel injection, or the 2.2i, with all 4-cylinder engines offering 110 or 115 horsepower, taken directly out of the Record E, but improved a bit for the 2.2i, which was also already in the Record E. While Opel itself already thought that this was not very powerful, these engines were more fuel efficient, which was especially attractive after the fuel crisis of the 1970s. And a common engine, in between power and fuel efficiency, remained to be a 2.5 liter, but now with fuel injection, now upgraded to around 136 horsepower, which made the Senator comfortable on long journeys and also more fuel predicted. This, however, the 2.5e, was replaced in October 1984 by the 2.5i, fuel injected, which offered more torque and now produced 140 horsepower, and also in 1984 the 2-liter E, which was replaced by the 2.2i with 115 horsepower, as well as the 3-speed automatic now being replaced by a 4-speed automatic. It was without a doubt that Opel actually still was busy innovating the car throughout its whole life. At the top of the line sat a 3-liter petrol engine inline 6, available in two forms, which later was a 180 horsepower after the 150 horsepower version, but also a 180 horsepower with fuel injected petrol, and also a slightly less powerful 156 horsepower unit, and this basically was after the facelift. The 180 horsepower car was very quick for its time, reaching 100 km an hour in about 9 seconds and topping out at over 210 km an hour, placing it direct in competition with BMW's 728i and Mercedes's 280 SE. And as said before, diesels also appeared later in the Senator's life, reflecting market demand in continental Europe. This was a 2.3 liter conventional turbo diesel with 86 horsepower and was economical but slow, mostly used by taxis, and also some power was added to a 2.3 liter Comprex diesel. However, interestingly enough, this was a very rare model as only 700 units were made between 1985 and 1986, and this engine was using a pressure wave supercharger system that boosted the output to 95 horsepower instead of the 86 in the normal turbo diesel, but this gave the car a more immediate response. Though technically innovative, as said before, this version was built in very limited numbers. In the next video, we'll move on to more specifications about the engine, the competition the car had, and more, but this will all be in the second part because this video otherwise would be way too long. So, thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe for more, check out this playlist of many interesting videos covering various parts of the automotive industry, don't forget to consider becoming a member of my channel or sending a super thanks on this video, and I will see you in the next video.